So? Contract.
No, mobilized. I'm a contractor.
You're a contractual, but you're mobilized.
I'm mobilized.
When did you sign the contract?
7/03/2023.
2023.
2023.
And what prompted you to sign?
There were loans, there were debts. I thought I'd sign, sit it out in the rear and pay it off.
You almost got it, I tell you. Were you sitting in the rear or were you fighting somewhere?
I spent 6 months in Sevastopol, then they transferred me to the 810s on the 11-13-140. I didn't fight, but then, yes, it turns out I did my time.
Didn't take part in military operations?
The first time was in the Kursk region where they take me prisoner.
Yeah. And when were you mobilized?
10 of October 2022.
2022. And where did you fight?
I haven't been to Ukraine yet, I haven't.
You haven't?
My mother died then. They gave me a 10-day leave and that was it. I went crazy, ended up in mental hospitals. I was in a mental hospital 4 times.
What about it? What, you went crazy, spent time in medical hospitals and still stayed to fight?
I didn't fight.
Well,
yes, since March, my mother died on February 23rd. On the 27th, they released me. She was in the hospital in a frozen state. Then I buried my mother. About 5 days passed, somewhere around the 8th. Yes, March 8th. My sister put me in a mental hospital.
Because of what?
To a mental hospital?
Yes.
I was talking to myself, depressed. Diagnosis F41-2. There's a long list. Here, I was in bed 4 times. Here and me till...
How was it treated?
They gave me injections and pills.
What did they inject?
Haloperidol, Cyclodol.
Whenever I hear about a mental hospital, I ask what they injected you. Haloperidol. It seems like it's a panacea for everything.
They gave me injections initially when I was having attacks. I started reaching for knives.
You're a dangerous guy. It's dangerous to talk to you.
I was cured. Everything is fine. And, so I was treated. Then after one mental hospital, they transferred me into another one. I registered there and went every day for treatment and hospitalization. Well, I also have a cyst in my head. Then I was admitted to the regional hospital with that cyst. A cyst in the brain. Some kind of growth.
A growth?
Yes, liquid-like.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to go to the military commission, but they wouldn't let me. When I went to hospital for the first time.
Wait, did you mobilize again in 2022?
In 2022, yes.
It seems like the mobilization period has already expired, right?
No.
Don't have a mobilization deadline?
No. The last mobilization was before November, I think. Well, I was at the training exercises.
I understand, but you were kind of mobilized, right?
Yes.
Do you have a time limit for mobilization? A year and a half?
No, until
the end.
They said until the end of the special military operation.
Until the end of the world, I get it.
Yes, and
why
on the
are
27th.
You so sad?
No, it's fine.
You're sitting here like you want to say something. Go ahead, say it.
No, let him talk. What should I do?
Got it, okay.
And now in August 2024, they put me in AOL. Oh, on the 23rd in AOL.
An authorized abandonment of a unit.
Yeah. Basically, yes, T-37 Part 5. On November 27th, I was taken from the mental hospital into handcuffs by the civilian police, because military police are not allowed to enter the hospital. They handed me over to the military police in handcuffs and brought me to the investigative military committee, the Bryansk department in Bryansk.
Wait, they took you straight from the hospital?
Straight from the hospital, yes, in handcuffs, and then from the investigative department to the military police.
Wait, let's be honest, were you pretending?
No, I wasn't pretending. My sister was in the ward.
So look, Roma, if you had a real diagnosis, if you underwent real treatment, right?
Yes.
How can they take you away from treatment? What is this?
They took me away because I was put on the federal wanted list.
I understand. How do you feel about this?
Of course I feel bad about this. They should have fired me or at least discharged
Well, sort
me.
of, yes.
They didn't. I went through the military commission 2 or 3 times. It should have been a D, but they probably gave me a B.
You're undergoing official treatment in an official clinic.
Yes, in the regional and civil ones.
You're listed as undergoing treatment
Yes,
with
I'm with them.
aren't you? Is it
Certainly.
possible to find you in the database? So the federal search has found you. You're undergoing treatment. What's next?
Yeah, they handed me over the military police and that's it.
It's clear.
And they brought me to the unit and I stayed there for 8 months.
What part?
Clincy City. 12721 city of Clincy.
In Clincy.
Yes, yes. They kept me in the regiment for 8 months while the investigation was underway. They wanted to, check my head.
How?
That is, I have to go through a military commission and confirm that I'm
Got it.
indeed sick. They did all this crap on purpose, and special team came from Moscow. They said they couldn't give me a category D, not even a B, only a B or at most a
What
B3.
is B3?
That is with some restrictions.
A little sick.
Yes.
Got it, but not
That
much.
is, they don't send me to war, but they sent me to Kursk, near Sudzhansky district. Like I can be there.
Yeah. How did you even get mobilized?
I arrived and worked at construction site in Kursk. A friend told me, don't go, let's keep working. We did siding and roofing.
Uh-huh.
I came to see my son for 2 days.
With your son?
Yes, I took my son.
Are you divorced?
Divorced, yes.
Divorced.
Yes, I came home with my son. I mean, I picked him up from my ex-wife straight from the train station. And I came home. There, my mother said that the harvest had been gathered, but it was necessary to dig up the area around the house. I dug and dug, and then there was a loud knock, a strong knock on the gate. I opened the gate, and there were 2 Russian guards with rifles and a young girl. Here's just humans, sign it and come with us. They took me away in handcuffs. The next day, they took me to the military office.
Well, they say you have such a huge patriotism there. Everyone's so eager to fight. What this?
It's
Why
so
the handcuffs?
lie. I didn't want
Why
it
the
myself.
handcuffs? Was it impossible without them?
Like, so I wouldn't get into trouble. When they called me, I was at work. They called me initially. I told them I'd come see my son. I told them truth.
So you warned them that you would be here?
Yes, I'll be home at that address, and I was registered. They were looking for me at my mother-in-law's old address.
You acted decently, as you say. They arrived here at the right place. Why are they handcuffing
I asked
you?
them a question. This young girl who was talking to me, to whom I explained that I would be home and such a time. I go out, and there are 2 guards with her.
Uh-huh. A question for you. Do you think a person would want to defend such a homeland?
Of course not.
Who did this to him?
Of course not.
Do you think he will want to?
I don't think so.
You were the one with the loans. You signed the contract because of the loans, right?
That's right.
But he had no loans.
I'd rather run around on rooftops, and that's all. I'll get
Have you covered the roofs?
roofs or wings of
Yeah.
any complexity.
Normal work.
Yes, I had 240, somewhere around that amount per month.
Generally good.
Yes.
They tell me salaries like this, 30, 40, 50, but yours is exactly
Because
240.
I'm
More than you earned
self-employed,
during the war.
what we did alone, and that it spread like wildfire. Clients liked it, then their neighbors wanted it, and they gave me their phone number, and that's how it was all over the Kursk region.
There were enough orders.
Yes.
It was enough.
That is, I didn't sit at home.
Okay, you spent 10 months in this unit.
Yes.
Let's finish your story then. You've been sitting in this part for 8 months. What's next?
Yes. Then they sent me to the regiment itself, and I was still
So?
under investigation. So my case isn't closed yet, it's just suspended, so they're offering me a regiment, so let's send you to the conscripts. You're supposed to keep an eye on the conscripts at the border in Sutra.
Keep an eye on the conscripts.
Yes, there are conscripts there.
Overseer on the conscripts.
I was their deputy platoon commander.
No title, no experience, nothing.
I have the rank of sergeant.
If this from your military service?
No, my contract was from 2018 to 2021.
Uh-huh.
I served in St. Petersburg in the city of Zelenogorsk. I resigned there. I was given the rank of the sergeant. I quit this job and went to work at the
Where
construction
did you like
site.
it better, in the army or at the
Of
construction
course, on
site?
the construction site. I served my contract in the army and didn't renew it because things were bad there. My salary was 30,031,500 rubles. I live with 2 children in Zelenogorsk in the St. Petersburg region.
Why not? They pay more in the army.
My salary was 31,700.
Did you sign the contract right after the
No,
deadline?
I had a term in 2010.
In 2010. And what did you decide in what year, 2018, to sign the contract?
My younger sister's husband is a contract soldier. He told me this, come to my division. So I went because there is little work in my city.
Yeah. Why can't you remember your sister's phone number?
She changed it because she owes loans.
Does your sister owe money?
Yes.
Guys, what kind of country do you have, the richest of all the richest, that everyone is in debt? Your sister has loans, and you even went to war for loans.
She had a small loan there, but she wasn't paying it, so she changed her phone number.
Well done. I basically agree that there's no point in paying him. Yes, that's true.
She also has 2 children.
Further.
So on May 21st, 2024, I was assigned from the regiment to the Suzhensky district, and I stayed there for 2.5 months. The offensive had not yet begun until May 21st.
What date were you captured?
8.
And the offensive
6.
began on the 6th.
Yes.
How did the offensive begin? How did you find out about it? What were you doing?
I also looked after the conscripts. I took them to the pillboxes to perform their duties. They were in the pillboxes. How it all started, the shelling began. The tanks started pounding the pillboxes. They completely destroyed all the pillboxes. And that's it. We were all in one group, set on fire from both sides, and so we
and
stuck
in one
together.
pile, where exactly were you standing?
Aleshnya 1.
Aleshnya 1.
Yes.
This is the very border, right?
The very border, yes.
It's even closer to the border than Suja, right?
Of course. 30 meters from the border.
30 meters.
And all of them are conscripts. The platoon commander himself was not there.
What did
He
they
was
set on
vacation.
fire? Burn?
FPV with thermal charges.
Everything there is made of wood?
Yes. They just once and went from the kitchen and from the 6-8.
Your
from the
reaction?
Hide from the smoke.
Where to? Jumped into the trenches?
There's a full trench there, about 2 kilometers of trench. And everything there was under a roof. There was no open space. And so we started to suffocate, and already where the bed house was about the middle of our dugouts, we were all there. On both sides, it was already evening when it hit. We started running already in the evening. The first run was on an officer, a lieutenant, a political officer, because we didn't have a platoon leader, and then he arrived probably around 10 in the morning. He says we'll hold out, reinforcements will be here at 6. We stayed in a group, and by evening we were already running. The first officer himself ran away. And then I went for the conscripts. I say, let's run every 2 minutes.
And where did the officer run?
He ran somewhere.
So this wasn't agreed upon in any way?
No.
I was just talking to conscripts, and they told me that the officer knew the way he ran ahead, and we had to follow him little
I
by
was
little.
the very last one running. I didn't know it, and I was wounded. The FPV wounded me.
Yeah. So the officer just
The
ran
very
away.
first one ran, yes.
What is the hero's name?
His name is Maxim.
And the surname?
I don't know his last name. I only know his call sign. Kabarda. Oh. No, right now. Not. Karagach. Karagach is our company commander. Crap. Wait. How does a convoy move? What is it called? That was his call sign. Holy shit. Echelon? No.
No. Column.
No. Not a train. A train is when the train is moving.
So the cars are driving in a column. What else?
In
the march?
Kabarda. No, not in Kabarda. Karagan, in my opinion.
What do cars have to do with it?
Karagan.
It doesn't matter. Overall, he's a Russian hero.
Junior lieutenant in
Junior
short.
lieutenant. Hero. Russian hero.
The very first one run.
Well done.
I don't know what
you
it is.
didn't abandon your
Yes,
own.
yes. Here we are with two conscripts who were dragging me. I'm wounded. I was wounded when we were running through the forest. A tank fired at us. I was wounded in the leg. We hid in the woods for 2 days and slept there.
With conscripts.
Yes, we're still conscripts.
Was just two.
Yes,
and the
yes.
rest?
I was the very last one running, and two conscripts were running ahead of me. They heard me screaming, and they stayed with
and
me.
the rest?
The rest ran through the plantings and
They ran away.
scattered. We didn't even catch up with them.
What happened to them next?
With those or with mine?
Well, the ones that ran away.
I don't even know. I didn't even have a radio.
And were you captured along with yours?
Yes, with two.
And they here?
One is here, and the other has probably already been exchanged because they took him away.
This one that was bandaged like this was
No,
you?
they are not wounded.
Not wounded. Got it. That means it's someone else.
There was this one with me. This one's name is Victor. He's here. This Andrei Victor Alexandrovich. I think Alexandrovich. He's the only one left here. The other one was Pavel. His name was.
Yeah. Okay, so what happened next? You hide and then?
Well, we ran across, spent the night in the landing from the FPV, hide from the Mavics in the dense forest. Then, when it got light, we stayed there and watched because tanks were driving there and infantry fighting vehicles were humming. As soon as it became quiet, we ran across the field to another planting and ran in the same way. We hide there for a bit. Well, anyway, we ran about 5 kilometers across the fields. In a forest area, there was a D-30 position, a cannon positioned down low, and we thought they were ours. After they retreated, they were afraid. They saw that these were Ukrainian armored forces. Their position, well, we were worried first. Then we finally got past. We passed by and saw our positions, Russian rations and water. We climbed into the dugouts and looked. No one was there. We no longer smoked, drank, or ate. And at the end of this position, we stayed because I couldn't walk anymore. I'd lost a lot of blood. I had no strength, especially without food or water. I'm telling the guys I hear a shot next to us. I think maybe it's a D-30. Someone started shooting. I think, guys, look, maybe our guys have already arrived. They'd only gone 10 meters when I saw I was sitting there without armor, my machine gun next to me. I saw them retreat a bit, come out of the grove, and lay down. I thought something was wrong. I see some guys coming, 2 of them, Ukrainian armored forces. I see they've already captured them, laid them down, stripped them of their machine guns, and all their ammunition.
Yes.
And me, I had nothing on. I laid down next to them. I say, guys, my fighters, they're conscripts, and I'm mobilized with them. Just the 3 of us here, and I lay down next to them. They received us normally, didn't beat us or anything, and gave us a smoke. They lit a cigarette for each of us 3 times, and that's how they took us prisoner.
They gave up and took synonyms in this case, right?
Yes. Where to go?
What was your story?
From the very beginning.
Well, yes, you did sign the contract somehow.
Yes, I signed a contract in the city of Krasnodar, after which we were sent to the Republic of Crimea, to the village of Perevalny for training. I just knew where they were going next. I transferred, and I got the opportunity to transfer to the city of Sevastopol to Unit 29544. I was there on a permanent basis. That is not a rotating staff. It's like a training center that trains people for 10 days and send them abroad. I spent more than 6 months there. Then in February around the 26th, 2024, I transferred to Unit 13140. We were sent across the border to Veliki Kopani.
Why did you transfer?
Because the salary there was generally small. 30, 40.
And there?
Well, as they said, 195 and above. I had from 170 to 180, but not immediately, but later.
Well, you understood that they would send you to Ukraine.
That's right.
Got it, yes.
We were sent to Veliki Kopani, Kherson direction. There we dug in the dugouts and they started sending us off. We also trained a bit there in Kopani, where there are trees. And then they sent us to the pillbox, or what we call glasses, on the Dnieper River. To prevent a breakthrough, we had to keep an eye on it. And there for more than 6 months, and around July 31st, we were transferred to the Donetsk sector, to a village called Ocheretina. They transferred us there while we were arriving. They lost a lot of property, people were wounded and dead, and we were assigned to my platoon to monitor the road from FPV, from drones, so that cars could pass, so that they wouldn't be bombed on the approach. We stayed there until August 11th, so as soon as we arrived, half of our men headed towards progress, but before we could get there, the order came for everyone to turn back, and we were transferred to the Kursk direction.
From Ocheretina?
Yes, that's right, from Ocheretina.
How are the things going for you in Ocheretina?
I can't know, because we were in the city itself. There was a tank working there too, and there were drones, so we lost people.
Lost?
We're losing. I'm telling you, they put us on the road, these drones, to monitor
How
the cars.
long did you spend in combat? Literally, you just left and were immediately turned away. So that's what it was like?
When? In the Kursk region?
No, before Kursk region.
Turns out from Kopani, this is the Kherson direction.
What year and months was it?
This is the 24th year, somewhere around February 26th.
Yeah, so you were there for quite a long time, and there were no wounded or dead?
There were wounded.
You already seen, right, what's happening?
Yes, I just started to realize that this is no longer a special military operation, it's really more like a war. The word is more appropriate.
War is more the word for it. And before you transferred to this unit to earn more money, you didn't understand, right?
I understood, but not completely. I only began to fully comprehend it all when I was actually here, when they started telling me, explaining, and showing me. I just understand that it's completely different from what they explained and showed us when I was in Russia.
Okay, but where is the truth?
I don't know, it's probably a pointless military operation. Each side is right, but
Come on, let's do it like adults. I just talked to conscripts who were 19 years old, so it's understandable. Did your president declare a military operation?
yes, he did.
Have your troops gone to Kiev?
Yes.
They marched on Kiev. Why? Why would one country's troops march on another capital?
Well, they explained demilitarization and denazification.
If you believe this nonsense, then explain to me what it is.
Well, this is so that there would be fewer weapons.
So?
I understood that. Well,
The
that's how
weapons
it
are
was
getting
explained to
bigger
us.
and bigger, obviously. It didn't work. Then,
Yes, it's clear that there are more troops and more weapons, so it didn't work as
So-
we were told.
denazification. Nazis, right? You must destroy the Nazis. Have you seen many Nazis here?
No. None.
So this is also nonsense. Let's go back to the beginning. Your president declared a military conflict. Your troops marched on our country's capital. Why?
Well, I didn't see the situation that was here because I got caught.
And you don't need to see. Do you doubt that this happened, or do you not know about
Well,
it?
I understand that this didn't really happen because I arrived. It's a completely different attitude here.
No, you don't understand. Do you know that your troops were marching on Kiev and almost reached it, stopping within the city limits?
Well, I heard about it.
You've heard about this, so I'm just asking a question. Why?
Well, it was pointless.
No. Okay, it was ultimately pointless, but what purpose did it serve? What purpose could here have been? Come on, you. What could have been the purpose of this?
Conquer foreign land.
You won a prize.
What else can I say?
Is he speaking correctly?
Well, essentially, yes.
Are there any other options?
There is so much of our land are there, it's empty.
I see. Well, someone wants to be a great conquering king and use people like you as meat in order to...
And that's exactly it, like meat.
But it didn't work out.
Yes.
And you see, you don't understand the goal. The goal is this, to conquer foreign lands when we have enough of our own. That's the goal.
Yes, that's exactly it. How many guys died for what?
For other people's ambitions, for what?
They don't exchange their boys hours. They sit there for more than 6 months, a year. Yes, that is also noticeable.
This is, of course, completely offensive.
They are simply
such a thing.
useless to their
There
own
are
country.
2.5 years that are sitting.
Yes.
From the very beginning. There are some.
Why don't they exchange us? They're their own people. They should bring their own people back first.
Why were you sent to a foreign country to kill people? In your case, you were there. I understand you were captured in the Kursk region, but you were in our country. You fought in the Ocheretinsky direction specifically. Why were you sent there? For what purpose?
Because there was progress.
To conquer lands, right?
That's right.
Occupy, so. And now you're asking why they haven't replaced you. Well, let's go first, I guess. Because first they sent you to the pointless meat grinder.
Well, yes.
For someone's ambition. Do you think the person who sent you to the meat grinder for their own ambitions will now think about taking you away?
No, of course not. Of course not. I don't even think about it.
How do you think?
That's also true. It's logical that they send us to be butchered, so what's the point of exchanging us?
It would have been better for them if you had simply died there.
They still can't admit that we are prisoners of war.
I don't know, well, some were recognized, some weren't. Basically, yes, it often happens that a person sits in captivity for 6 months until I call. We can get through. What, you haven't disappeared without a trace? They brought me your coffin. It happens.
I had a military police officer in the regiment. They announced him dead. Also, he had only spoken to his wife half an hour earlier. She received a paper that he is there. Come for the coffin.
And she talked to him?
Yes, he was announced 3 times. He's sitting in the regiment. He was announced 3 times in AOL, and then another 200 were announced. Also, the man is in the regiment.
Well...
And so my case was never closed, it was only suspended.
Well, when you come back, they'll exchange you. God willing, you'll have to deal with them there, whether they suspended it or not.
Can I have another smoke?
Go on. You say they're transferring you from Mocheretina, but how many of you were taken from
people,
there?
The whole company of us were taken from there.
80 people were taken. So with the equipment...
We had no military equipment at all.
And what did you go on?
On tax.
Towards Kursk?
We went to Kursk in KAMAZ trucks.
What date were you captured?
August 14.
August 14. Well, when did you arrive there?
August 11.
August 11. Where have you arrived?
The settlement of Kauchuk.
Kauchuk.
That's right.
And what are the next steps?
Our actions were to land and take up positions. Our platoon was left behind again to help with supplies and all that. And on the 13th in the evening, an order was received to occupy the forest regiment, push out the enemy and dig in there. On the 14th morning, we reached this forested area. I was sent to the far side. We approached the main line in small groups. I was assigned to the outermost one. I had an AK-12 and RPG-7. I was left in the outer area to prevent a breakthrough to hold the line. When we got to the where I was sitting, there was almost no one there. And then in the middle, a shutout broke out. Half of those who were with me ran away, and I just saw the wounded lying there. He couldn't help himself. I started to help him. While I was helping him, I contacted him asking what I should do, what my next steps should be. They told me to wait. We're taking out the wounded, so just wait for now. I understand that your fighters have already come from behind, meaning I have no option to reach them. So I went in the other direction, that is forward. I ran into an ambush, and your soldiers were there too. I laid down my arms, didn't shoot, nothing. Well, I mean, I took off my armor, my weapons, and followed the instructions that they said.
Understood. So you were essentially the only one who was
From my
captured.
company, yes.
What about the rest of yours?
I can know because they were all on the quick draw, and those who were with me scattered. Only one of the wounded remained,
Got it.
the one I was helping. I don't know his further fate.
How do you evaluate the actions of your command? Orders, tactics?
There was no reconnaissance, no cover, nothing, no equipment. They just sent us, and that was it.
There was nothing at all.
They said the equipment was rolling around. I told them to get rid of the conscripts.
Was it possible to pick up conscripts and evacuate
In
them?
the last 3 days, probably not, because they've already started shooting at the cars with
Well,
FPV.
not right away, so it immediately became clear that an offensive was underway. Was it possible to evacuate the conscripts
I
or
think
not?
probably not.
No options, right?
because your FPV was good. Because their car will arrive, no matter if it's civilian or not, it will get hit right away.
No, well, so overall, how do you feel about your decisions to sign the contract now?
I deeply regret doing this because it was pointless. I almost left my family without a father, without a husband,
Do you have children?
daughter, 5 years
Daughter,
old.
5 years old. She could never see you again. Really?
Really.
One bullet. Someone's finger slipped off the trigger and that's it.
I understand
that's
that's
all.
why I gave up without any unnecessary moments.
Well done. In that regard, well done for not doing anything like that, because if you had, your daughter
Well,
definitely
yeah, I
wouldn't
wouldn't have made
seen
it.
you again. I'm just saying this for those who can watch and somehow